Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I have to apologize for my friend and colleague, CCP Plant. He tends to drink on the job, and I'm a bit of an enabler, so sorry about that. But we have a lot to get through, right?
Yes, we have a very exciting show ahead of us. We've got some wonderful interviews and lots to talk about, and it's all about spaceships.
Yes. Space has been crazy. We've released Citadels since we had our last 07 show here at CCP headquarters. There's been wars, and people are building Citadels. They're popping up left and right. They're blowing up left and right. It's been pretty crazy. It's been crazy.
But one of the most important things that's happened since then was, of course, FanFest. And during FanFest, we announced the delegation for the latest CSM. And so they, of course, have been trying to get to grips with who we are, and we're trying to get to grips with who they are. And we've had lots of meetings and all of that. So they've sent us, well, some of them have sent us a few postcards about what they are, I suppose, aiming at in the term to come.
Yeah. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Stephen Nookin, your friendly neighbourhood CSM representative for all your third-party, industrial and high-sec needs. See my work at fuzzwork.co.uk.
Hello guys, my name is Botman, and some of you might know me from running evenews24.com. I'm a member of Pandemic Legion, and my favourite ship is the Redeemer. I really look forward to get to work on this year's CSM term 07.
Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Hyde, and I'm in ISRAD in Pandemic Legion. My focus as a CSM is on solo PvP and fighting the frigate menace. I like battleships, and my favorite ship is the Vindicator.
Why hello there. This is Sullen Decimus, proud member of Polaris Rising, a part of the Bastion Alliance representing nullsec, wormholes, and everything else in between.
Hello people of New Eden, my name is Jintan and I am a member of the Curatoris Veritatis Alliance. I am also a member of the CSM XI and my focus during this term will be on both the impacts of changes on non-NBSI playstyles and medium to large fleet balancing.
Hey, my name is Nash Cadaver. I currently fly for Pandemic Legion. In the CSM, my main focus is helping those wanting to organize EVE esports and out-of-game events. In-game, my favorite ship is the Nagofar, my favorite breakfast is beer, and as a hobby, I guarantee explosions.
Hi, I'm Zenuria. I'm a psychomancer and special director of the Monolithia program for the Imperium. For the CSM, I'm focused on CSM reform and the new player experience.
Greetings, Capsuleers. My name is the Judge from the Nullsec Alliance Circle of Two, and I am one of your representatives for CSM XI. I am proud to be a permanent attendee and member of the CSM working with CCP on behalf of the EVE community. Thank you for your votes this year, and fly dangerous.
Hello, I am Farfet, Self Tropa d'Elite. I represent Dronelands and NC. My areas of interest are nullsec, industry, tournaments, mission running and role-playing. If you have something, mail me in-game and I will be whispering to the cats.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Noonman from Hard Knocks. Thanks for voting for me for CSM 11. Anything wormhole related, capital related, or Citadel related, I'm your guy.
Hi. Welcome back to the SAT. That was our new CSM 11, or most of them at least. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to work with them so far, and I am very optimistic about what's going to happen this term. So now we are going to go to a market report from Prosper Analysis, and the very talented Locke folks is going to lead us through some of that turmoil we talked about earlier with things blowing up and lots of things, new things in the game, shifting up the markets. And after that, we're going to go to a interview here on the SAT Live with CCP Ghost, our new NPE, new player experience producer, and he's going to be speaking to CCP Mimic. But here's the market report.
Welcome to a special market summary from Eve Prosper. Today we are dedicating our show to the Citadel release and what to expect going into the summer. Biggest news of the month is the crashing Plex price. Flash crashes right after the patch signal a particular panic among investors. Some were caught flat-footed with the tax changes, while others were cashing out more Plex than expected to jump into Citadel markets. Also, Probag Bear's Plex wall continues to dominate buy orders, sopping up cheap Plex as prices slide to find their bottom. Looking at the one-year view for Plex, being back at 900 million resets the gains for the last year entirely. Those signals look positive into the upcoming weeks. An extended period of cash crunch have taken their toll on Eve's largest market. Downward pressures should be subsiding, leading to a more steady Plex market, but we are not predicting significant rises until the end of the summer. Looking into the skill trading markets, prices continue to slide along with Plex prices. Considering promised skill point refunds from faxes, prices may take another brief tumble before the summer starts. Though the picture remains rosy for skill farmers, with ISK per skill point valuations remaining steady. Unfortunately, expect some volatility as injector supplies rise over the next couple of weeks. Interesting for fans of the Prosper show, fuel isotope markets are finally starting to break. Though all isotopes are trending down, most likely due to lowered PvP activity, the tumble from nitrogen is particularly steep. Taking a longer look at nitrogen specifically, we can see, starting in October, that supplies were particularly depressed. This restraining pressure was relaxed as World War B forced some fire sales, but prices remained strong through the war. Unfortunately, with World War B activity closing, buy pressure has collapsed, causing the price to freefall. Looking at general PvP activity, things remain hot in O1Y and Saranin as fighting continues. Though activity is waning slightly, total destruction remains high in these systems. Though activity remains healthy, we expect to see a return to normalcy across the cluster. This should provide plenty of content for the summer while allowing pilots to recuperate from all the turmoil this spring. This concludes our Prosper Market Brief for Citadels. Be sure to tune in at 0300 tonight for a full in-depth review of the EVE economy on Twitch and YouTube. To follow us, all you have to remember is Eve Prosper, and that will get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and our blog. I've been your host, Locke Fox, signing off from Eve Prosper.
Hi and welcome back. I'm CCP Mimic and I'm going to be talking to CCP Ghost in a little bit. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know that we are also actually for the first time ever streaming on YouTube, which we're all very happy about. And of course, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of giveaways like we usually do during a stream. So definitely check out the chat and interact with everyone. And of course, our hashtag 07show is going to get you lots of prizes. So please keep tweeting and talking to your friends about everything. But let's get on with what we're actually here to talk about, and that is talk to you, CCP Ghost, who have become one of the favorites amongst the community lately.
Oh,
and
really?
You were, I suppose you first came into contact with our community during FanFest.
Yes.
How was your FanFest?
Oh, it was awesome. I'd heard all these crazy stories about these fans, and they did not disappoint. I had a lot of really super interesting and frankly weird conversations during FanFest, but my take on it was that people were really interested in the new player experience. I had probably over 100 players stop me and tell me ideas and thoughts about them, and those ideas, went some strange places, from like rocket propulsion and trips to Mars and all the way down to some deep psychological stuff, but it was great fun.
That's great. And one of the things that you actually spoke about during the keynote was the problem that you found that new players have, and that is that they have the intense challenge of trying to both comprehend and master the game all in such a short amount of time. And then you went on to explain that you and the team that you're working with now are trying to go on a journey of mastery and purpose, I think was the way that you put it. What do you actually mean by mastery and purpose?
Well, one of the things we found out when I was mapping out the game, and it was like I mentioned at the keynote, is the game is basically suffering from the weight of its own awesomeness. There's so much that you can do in it and so many play styles you can engage in. But the flip side of that is that there's so much stuff to learn. And currently it seems to us, and the player community seems to agree, that one of the main obstacles towards the game is overcoming this knowledge barrier. So we took a step back and we thought, how can we teach you something as complex as EVE in a way that it doesn't build frustration and it's enjoyable? And we believe that the key to that is that we do it through a meaningful journey where it's filled with a sense of purpose and mastery.
So like a story.
Yeah, so like we build you a story, or we involve you in building your own story. I mean, all the players, this theme keeps repeatedly coming up when we ask players, why do you love the game? It's because, you know, I'm building my mastery, and this is my journey, my world, where I'm building this. So that's at least what we're going to take a jab at. We're going to try to involve more of your own journey in it. So when you enter the game, instead of feeling like you have to do a bunch of mechanical tasks without context and not really knowing what it's about, we try to give you this context, and and it becomes meaningful for you what you're doing. So instead of experiencing like you're studying for something, you're experiencing enjoyment in mastering something.
Okay, so yeah, like I think that the only way that you can, the words that you use during the keynote are exactly what you need. The giving purpose, like taking on a journey, because as you say, it's always the stories that everyone comes up with.
Yeah, and key tools for basically human behavior to understand complex things is stories and narrative. I mean, the brain is optimized to store information through stories. That's just how we've developed. So it makes sense that we try to approach it in a way that fits with our biological complexities.
Yes, and we know all about your biological complexities.
Yes.
After examining your brain. That was a very strange way to present the idea, I have to say. A lot of people came and asked me about that afterwards, but I think that it definitely gave across the idea very well in the way that you explaining that this is something that's of intense interest to me, and this is why I've decided to go on this challenge, as you put it, that CCP Seagull has given you. And I also wanted to ask, because after the keynote, you had a roundtable and another 2 days of talking to players, and I was just wondering if there was anything in particular that stood out, or if there's anything that you weren't expecting to have learnt from everyone.
First of all, I was overwhelmed by the feedback. I was sad to see that, or I mean, it was a luxury problem, I guess. We completely packed out the roundtable room, and there was a lot of people that just couldn't get there because it was filled. So we just didn't expect so much interest in it, to be frank. But we had a lot of really good feedback there, and immediately following, we had some massive Reddit threads and Twitters and blogs and emails, and just a lot of feedback. Overall, in general, what I took from the feedback is that we're on the right path. It was overwhelmingly positive. People were like, yes, this is what we need to do. We need to improve the new player experience so we can get more people in there, and we need to bring them to this place where they understand why we love the game. And a lot of really good ideas. There was specifically, I mean, the roundtable was very good. We jotted down a couple of ideas there which we're running with right now. We're scoping out. And there was also in particular a Reddit thread that had like 300 comments on it. Wow. Right following FanFest, that had a lot of really good ideas that we also, like I try to send to the Team Genesis, which has been set up for the new player experience. I try to send to them, and we try to collect all of these and go through them so that every time some fan or some players express an idea, we try to at least evaluate it, and we've collected a bunch of them actually right now. We're scoping out the validity of some of them and like the feasibility of them.
Well, that's fantastic news, and I know a lot of people are going to be really excited to see what comes out of this project, because like you say, it's something that's very special to a lot of people. It's not often understood, but it's very, for me, I think that, I mean, I also have the same passion for new players. It's something that I think is really important to be able to explain why this game is so emotive to us, I think, why we either hate it or love it or get scared or want everybody to come and join us. But then as soon as you bring someone in and you aren't able to get them to the same level, it's also frustrating at the same time. So I'm really looking forward to what your team produces. There's some fantastic people on that team, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So really looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with. So
that's good to hear, and yes, there's definitely some fantastic people on the team. I'm very lucky to have such an awesome team.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And quickly before we get on with the rest of the show, we are going to be speaking to... Oh, sorry, I need to actually breathe. I'm so excited about new players, you see. We're going to be speaking to Zarvox, who is an EVE streamer, and he's actually streams EVE professionally through the Twitch partnership program, and he puts in over 40 hours a week of EVE. But rather than try to explain what that actually means, CCP Guard had a word with him and spoke all about it. So take a look at this.
Welcome to the 07 show, Zarvox. It's great to have you on. I watched your show quite a lot. Can you tell us a little bit about...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are?
I'm Zarvox Toral. I started playing EVE in 2011, I think. I got into EVE after reading about heists, corporate espionage, that sort of thing. I started playing the game as I was finishing uni and was completely obsessed with it. I've always been into small gang and solo PvP. That's sort of the thing that has always got me excited in EVE, and the thing that I've really concentrated on. I haven't really done much else in EVE, actually, very little. When I started playing the game, I moved straight into nullsec. I got really lucky and joined a really fun PvP corp. Moved straight into nullsec and have been doing pretty much the same thing since then, just solo and small gang. I was a fleet commander for Providence for a little while, but I've since left Provi, so now I'm just a free agent.
How long have you been actually streaming the game, and how did you kind of get into streaming EVE?
I sort of started dabbling in streaming like roughly a year ago. It was just sort of something for fun. I had a few people in my alliance actually ask me if I could stream so they could see what I was doing. So I used to link kills in my alliance channel, like crazy kills, and people would be like, oh, wow, how did you do that, whatever. Can you link that? Or you should start streaming. We want to see how you do it. And I started doing it with a really crummy internet connection, which is pretty standard in Australia. But it was just a couple of hours a week while I was looking for a job. And then a few months after that, I wasn't able to find any work. I'm a graduate mechanical engineer, and I decided to just start streaming and put a lot of hours into it and see where it took me. And within a few months, I was making a little bit of money doing it and decided to, go full time. That was about 8 or 9 months ago now.
I see you go into like some very complicated explanations sometimes and thoughts about the math and the physics behind everything. Like, does your engineering degree help you sometimes explain the EVE mechanics?
No, maybe. I just dig maths. I probably explain it sort of a bit too in depth sometimes, but I guess it helps a little bit. I just find that there's a lot of people new and old in the game, like veterans and new bros alike, who may not understand certain, me included. I like just generally having discussions about the mechanics.
Yeah.
Some of the more obscure mechanics, like for example, tracking speed and how it interacts with SIG resolution of weapons, which has just been changed in the last update. But that whole interaction is pretty poorly understood in general. Another one's overheating and, all these sorts of mechanics I like discussing. Not that I necessarily understand them better than anyone else. It's just good to have discussion so that everyone can learn something, I learn a lot from people coming into my stream being like, hey, that's not actually how it works, and you can test it, like overheating mechanics, whether heat wraps around from a mid-rack or not. I enjoy discussing that. Some of the mechanics are so obscure and pretty poorly understood. It just helps broaden your own knowledge and everyone else's that's watching.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of their own understanding of these things that kind of works. Like, it's like a general approach, but the finer details sometimes are way off for a lot of people. And it's it's fun to see those discussions take off. A lot of people have thought that EVE is not necessarily the easiest game to stream because of its unpredictable nature, and you never really know, you can't always guarantee minute-to-minute action. Like, how do you kind of deal with that, and how do you solve that problem?
Well, it's sort of good in one way and bad in the other. Like, the bad aspect is that sometimes you might go for hours without having a fight. But at the same time, that's sort of good because you can engage with your chat. You can really get to know the people that watch. You can have chats about mechanics. You can have chats about the meta at the moment, the war that's going on, different new patch notes, whatever. It gives you a chance to actually build a community. So I actually sort of like that aspect of it, that sometimes you'll have just a bunch of time to chat. You'll often hear people who stream other games like StarCraft talk about how it's impossible to stream StarCraft because it's constant action and you can't pay attention to chat and answer questions all the time for, the entire game.
Yeah.
At least without sacrificing like a big amount of performance.
Yeah.
So
you answer one question
good and bad.
lose.
Yeah, that's right. But often the people who do pretty well at streaming those games are people who concentrate more on the community, on their chat, and keeping involved with their viewers than performing at their absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
So that aspect of it, the fact that there's not continuous action, is actually sort of good, and I like that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. So for people that maybe are already streaming EVE or have an interest in streaming EVE, do you have any tips and tricks?
Well, everyone's different. I guess just be yourself. That's a big part of it. Just enjoy, have fun. People, I think, are more inclined to hang around if they see you having fun. Another big one is just keeping engaged with your chat. Always be talking with the dudes or the people that are watching. Having a schedule is a really big deal, I think. If you can do it, obviously not everyone can, but if you can have some sort of like set hours that you stream, a lot of people will actually make the time to come and jump in your channel and say hello. I know that's a big thing with mine, like that I stream regular hours. There's a lot of people who wake up, and say I watched you while I, having coffee, going to work or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That people can integrate it into their daily schedule or routine or whatever. But also with EVE, it's because of the inherent sort of brutality of EVE, I've found it a lot easier to stream since I just started playing it as a game, not as something competitive. Just treat it just like a game that's meant to be played for fun. And because you'll get stream sniped a lot, you'll get smashed a lot, you'll lose a lot of ships probably if you're streaming any sort of PvP. So it can make it a lot easier when you treat it just like a game. Making mistakes is completely irrelevant if you're having fun.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I look forward to watching your show, and to the rest of you, we'll see you back on the 07 show. What's been happening in space, CCP Mimic, and around space?
Oh, lots of things have been happening in space. But first of all, I want to talk about Citadels, because that release happened, 3 days after FanFest, and so much has happened since then. And of course, everybody thinks that the Citadels are made out of paper mache and that they keep blowing up and nobody's getting to keep them. So CCP Fuzzy created a little challenge on Twitter about what the survivability of them were. And I am very pleased to be able to announce the winner of said competition, and that is the fact that the Astrohus has a survivability of 90%, the Fortizar of 93%, and now that we actually have one in the game, the Keepstar is 100%. So there. And of course, then our winner of that competition was almost finished, who had the following estimates, very, very precise, of course, is 89.546% for the Astrohus and 94.428% for the Fortizar. He'd thought about this a lot.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. But I've got a bunch of other interesting little tidbits, because I think that this is really interesting.
Yeah.
As of midnight last night, the most online Citadels that any corp has is 9. I'm not going to tell you who, though. And that 380 players have been killed by Citadels so far. Although I'm sure quite a few have died today as well.
Yeah.
And that the second most expensive... Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
We're sorry.
The second most expensive death was an accidental friendly fire by the pillow for Talladar, their point defense battery. So yes, it seems that it's actually not us, it's you guys who get shot by friendly fire. So we try as we might, and no, it's not just pauses.
Yes, but keep in mind that Citadels have a long way to go before they match the friendly fire kill rate of pauses.
Yes,
So,
that's true. Although that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I've also got last two little facts, a breakdown of where they actually are, and that is that 46% of all citadels are in high-sec, 26% in wormhole space, 23% in null, and just 5% in low-sec.
Oh.
And that the most common name for a citadel is Atlantis. And as of midnight last night, there were 6 citadels with this name, owned by 6 separate corps. So go find them, go blow them up, or make another one next to it and say, no, this is the wrong name.
Yeah, don't sink them all at once, but you know.
But yeah, there's a bunch of them out there, and they are increasing every day. So.
Yeah. I thought the most common name would be something slightly less TV friendly, but hey, you know, you guys surprise us.
Don't put ideas in everybody's heads.
All right, so what about this? There's a roam happening tonight, right?
Yes, there is. Straight after this show, we are going to be hosting on Twitch the EVNT. They are going to be doing a public roam, and they're leaving Amarr at 9 o'clock. They are also adding a bunch more content to their schedule, so we've got up on the screen the rest of the week for this week, and just now we'll show you what's happening next week. That's the next image that'll be coming up. But one thing that we wanted to let you know, and that is that CSM member Nash Cadaver and CSM Jintan are going to be leading the roam today, so make your way to Amarr. They're going to be leaving station at 2100 hours.
Yeah,
so
and we'll be hosting here on the CCP channel as well.
Yes.
So you can watch it here or on their channel.
Exactly. And if you want any more details about all the shows that they've got coming up, then head over to their website at eve-nt.uk.
Yes, and Eve Mining Squad, what have they been up to?
Eve Mining Squad. Yes, I've managed to put all my information into the beginning of this segment, and that is a new Spanish blog which teaches new players and some veteran industrialists about the game. So now there's something available to the Spanish community,
awesome.
which unfortunately isn't a language that we support officially yet, but it is something that should be done, and so there's a resource for them.
Me gusta Eve Mining Squad.
And the creator of the Mining Squad blog is also the creator of an app called Gank Tracker, which keeps everybody a little bit safer and keeps everybody away from all you rascally pirates out there.
Awesome.
Yes.
But later in the year, we have Eve Vegas, and I just have to give you an early heads up because tickets are projected to sell out pretty easily for this one. We announced ticket sales at FanFest less than a month ago, and we've sold a ton of tickets already. We did the same. We announced at FanFest also the year before, and we were surprised by how fast the tickets sold. Now they've been selling even faster, and even though we've added space to get more people there and make an even bigger Eve Vegas than ever before, we are seeing projections that are telling us it's going to sell out. So go to our website. If you're going to go, get your tickets, get your discounted room codes, and we'll see you in Vegas. It's going to be a great time.
It is, of course.
There's some player run events coming up that we want to mention. We want to highlight 2 of them. Eve Glasgow is happening on June 4th on the Saturday, and I am going to that one myself. I've been helping them with all kinds of things for the last years. They do like a monthly meetup, and they do a big one every year. This is their big one this year, and so I want to go and check it out, see how it works, and hang out with the Scottish players a little bit.
Good luck understanding what they're saying.
Yes,
they're awesome people, absolutely awesome.
Yes,
but
hard to understand.
But it's okay. Hand gestures and
they work.
It works. Sign language.
And then for Eve Northeast is taking place in Pennsylvania in the US on June 23rd to the 26th. And that's a ticketed event, all food included. It's like an outdoorsy event. They have like cabins and tents where people can stay, and it's great. I mean, if you want to go, if you live in the US and you like to hang out with players around the fireplace and barbecue and shoot fireworks and have some beers and stuff, definitely go check that out, support them, buy your ticket now, and
Sounds like so much fun.
It's going to be absolutely great. Other meets happening this month, actually this weekend. There's 2 events this weekend, one in Toronto, one in Seoul in South Korea. All of these meets you can find more information about on Eve Meet. Then there's, for the remainder of the month, we have Montreal, Houston, Vienna, Bulgaria, Cardiff, and Salt Lake City. So that's quite a lineup for all you people who live close to there.
Okay. So that's everything that we've got to talk about, except for something that's happening in the future.
Yes.
Which I know is very, very exciting that we're actually going to be talking about something that's happening in the future.
Yes.
And that is a new competition.
Yes, we have a competition to run probably for the next 07 show. And we just wanted to give you creative people out there a little heads up, video makers obviously in particular. We have been doing some commissioned work by players on the 07 show. And we want to expand on that and see what else is out there and give people a chance to pitch us their ideas. So we are going to host a contest which is about sending us a pilot of something that could be a reoccurring regular or semi-regular thing on the 07 show. It can be educational, inspirational, entertainment, whatever you think fits for the EVE community. And we're thinking of something between a minute and 3 minutes in length, something like that. So get your brains started and start thinking, and we'll put out more information in some community news soon with details.
Yes, with exact details on formats and frame rates and all those technicalities. So yes, keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. But now we are going to look at the video I was babbling on about earlier to no avail. And that was Hendrick Talladar's 07 report. And we're going to see what's been happening in space.
Hello there, space friends. I'm Hendrick Talladar, here to welcome you back to the 07 report. A quick rundown of everything that's happened in EVE Online over the past few weeks. The last edition of the 07 report aired shortly before FanFest, so it's been a little while since we took a look at the EVE map. At the end of March, a war began which the EVE community has predominantly called World War B, where we saw a large collection of various alliances and coalitions banding together to topple the Imperium's hold on the northern regions of EVE Online's nullsec. Firstly, a quick glance of the map shows that, yes, after 6 years of dominating the north and controlling it with their coalition, Goonswarm Federation and their allies have been essentially driven out. Currently, the last remaining pockets of nullsec systems held under their control are 2 constellations in Fade and Pureblind, which is significantly less than what they held just a few weeks ago. Although they lost most of their northern sovereignty, leadership from within the Imperium declared that they would be employing a strategy of staging from the low-sec system of Saranen and using that to hit their enemies' recently captured holdings. While this may be a sound strategy, it did come at a bit of a price. Member alliances Space Monkeys Alliance and Fidelis Constans both opted to leave the coalition of their own reasons over the past few weeks. SMA suffered various losses when they were assaulted in their home region of Fade, including the exodus of roughly half their leadership at the time, who went on to create their own alliance, free from the politics and related aspects they had stated to have grown tired of. The departure of SMA also saw them move to the Outer Ring region in order to rebuild and reorganize themselves after losing several hundred members to not only their enemies, but to other alliances within the Imperium. Fidelis Constans were also in a similar position when they lost their home region of Branch in the far north, which also came with the cost of them losing around a dozen supercarriers and titans that they would sporadically try to evacuate from the north, only to be caught by members of the Money Badger Coalition. FCON eventually announced their full departure from the Imperium and moved to the south, taking systems in the regions of Tenerifis and Amencia, which were the homes of the Guardians of the Galaxy Coalition, who, coincidentally, had just taken the northern regions of Declan and Branch themselves. Recently, FCON and the Imperium also formally reset themselves after a short grace period, meaning that Fidelis Constans are officially the second alliance to leave the Imperium since the war started. SMA are still somewhat related to the Imperium in terms of standings, and thus that doesn't count. Amongst all of this, it was also announced that Pandemic Horde would be vacating their holdings in the southwestern region of Aquarius, leaving the Thunderdome region that they helped create there in favor of moving into Fade full-time. This was stated as to allow Horde to be more regularly proactive in the fighting up north, and also maintain their grip on the region of Fade that they had recently conquered. In addition to this, the low-sec entity of Snuffed Out committed an AWACS, the act of killing an ally, against their temporary allies of Shadow Cartel that saw both a Titan and several supercarriers destroyed. Snuffed Out and Shadow Cartel had been rivals for a long period of time before the war started, and their ceasefire to join the MBC was due to expire, but nobody knew for certain when that would happen or how it would take place. However, Snuffed Out, killing Shadow Cartel's assets after they convinced Shadow Cartel to use a Snuffed Out pause, came at a bit of a price. Several member corporations left Snuffed Out in protest of the AWOCs, calling it uncalled for. Whether or not this is the beginning of the breaking up of the NBC is very unlikely, but this incident could be cited as one of the earlier stages of that process. And that is all the EVE news that have happened over the past few weeks in this short recap. I'm Hendrick Talladar, and I will see you next time.
Welcome back to the set. That was fun, and now we are going to go to a fight. There's going to be a fight.
There's going to be another fight, is
Yes.
what he actually means. We're going to be going to Celebrity Shootout.
Celebrity Shootout is going to be a battleship clash this time around, and we have the best battleship pilots in EVE, some say, not to offend anyone, some say, and they're going to see who is the best. And let's check that out.
Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Celebrity Collides. We have a very special matchup for you this evening. We have Big Miker and Mr. Hyde versus ChrisWOW and Zarvox. But with a little bit more information, we have Tiberius Stargazer.
Thanks Nash, and hello again viewers. For you today we have 4 of EVE Online's greatest solo PvP streamers and YouTubers who are going to go head to head in a 2v2 brawl. Because that makes total sense. First up we have Zarvox, and if he is not the world's most popular EVE Twitch streamer and YouTuber, he is definitely Australia's. And he is paired up with EVE Online's #1 Irish streamer, ChrisWOW. But the opponents they have to face are no slouches. Big Miker is a hugely skilled battleship pilot and is known for his ferocious video series on YouTube. And finally, renowned video maker and CSM member Mr. Hyde, who was elected on his platform of fighting the frigate menace. This should be a good brawl, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Back to you, Nash.
Thank you very much, Tibbs. Okay. Without any further ado, the grid is ready, so we're going to send it straight over to the booth, where we have waiting Elise Randolph and Bay RJ to do the commentary.
Alright everyone, I am Elise Randolph, joined by Bay RJ, and this is going to be kind of a wild ride. In the Zarvox corner, they're in the streamers corner, I should call it. We've got Zarvox in a Vargar and ChrisWOW flying as Derwent in a Golem, and they decided to do something a little bit interesting that we didn't quite expect. We tried to make this like a completely brawl setup, but they managed to figure out a way to bring a Tinker into the Celeb Collides. So it should be interesting to see how these Marauders go. Bay, tell us about Big Miker and Mr. Hyde.
So yeah, Mr. Hyde is in an Armageddon Navy issue, and Big Miker is in a Raven Navy issue. If any two ships are going to be able to beat this Tinker, these guys have got a cracking chance because they have got huge EHP. So they might be able to withstand enough DPS to smash apart these Tinker. And the match is about to start. We see the ships have warped in. The Tinker has warped in at 0, and the other two have warped in at 20 kilometers away. And it looks like Mr. Hyde's team are just going to drift away a little bit.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, or as you guys might not know, a Tinker is just a team that relies on like cap transfers to keep repairs going. So these Marauders have cap transfers going in, and it looks like Hyde and Mike are going for Zarvox's Vargar, probably the lowest EHP on this thing. Let's see how it fares. He's going to try and tank everything, but there's a swarm of combat drones around him, and he's just barely holding like 30% armor. Oh my god, and now they're going to start applying damage to a Big Miker. So let's see how this goes. If Zarvox can tank this, then it's over. Like, these guys need to do all their DPS really, really quickly.
There is absolutely zero positioning here, unlike a normal tournament match where the players will dance around each other straight away. This is just a big DPS brawl, which is actually kind of what we wanted, so it's working out all right. Big Mike running out of shield now. He's down to 30%, while Zarvox seems to be holding fine. He's pulsing his ASB, and he hasn't come close to breaking. He hasn't taken any armor damage yet. So
yeah, this is looking really bad for Miker and Hyde. They're going to be kicking themselves if they go down to this. Miker is like in 20% shield, as soon as the shield goes, like his armor and structure is just gonna go poof, poof, poof. Zarvox is just tanking all the way with this Tinker setup that I'm sure everyone will love to see. Tinker's everyone's favorite Alliance tournament setup. Everyone knows this.
Yeah. Okay, so what's interesting here is the Golem and the Varga, the Tinker setup, has been moving constantly towards Big Micah to try and apply damage. I've noted that Mr. Hyde's team, they have got missile disruptors in their mid slots. They've got a total of 3, which applied to Derwent's Golem will mean he's got a very short torpedo range. So Mr. Big Micah now trying to kite away in a torpedo ship against another torpedo ship.
I mean, he is afterburning, he's Mike warp driving. Even like he's going a little bit quickly. He's known to kite. Like Micah is pretty good at PvP, but he is entering into structure right now. Maybe he should have taken a nightmare or something.
He's going as fast as he can now. I think he might need to overload that MWD. And as I say that, he looks like he is. He's in a structure because he needs to get just outside of those torpedo volley ranges, or he's going to die in a fire. The autocannons will finish him off, but not as quickly as without those torpedo volleys coming in from the Golem. Zarvox holding absolutely fine. He's absolutely fine.
I mean, now that,
shield. He's not under any stress at all. By looks, he's still just boosting away. This setup. It looks like it's won. They've outthought us.
They have. They're tricky little fellows, and everyone knows. I mean, this must be how CCP Fozzie feels whenever people took the first Tinker setup in the Alliance tournament. It must have been like, wow, this is amazing. I also hate everyone, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen ever again. But Micah is pulling a little bit of range. The damage is falling off quite a bit, but there's no way.
There's a ton of light and medium drones on top of him, and they are just going to slowly wear him down. He's losing a little bit of some structure here and there.
There are some light shield maintenance spots around him, so maybe he'll tank a little bit. And heavy shield maintenance spots from Hyde's Navy Geddon.
Yeah, he's actually approaching the boundary. I'm wondering if he remembers that there's actually a 125k boundary limit here. I think we'll probably let them play on anyway. But yeah, he is approaching the boundaries. So if he boundaries, we'll have to give the match to the Tinker team. Unfortunately, to be fair,
I feel so dirty rewarding a Tinker setup.
I know. He's turned around now. He's realised that he's well out of range of the hostile battleships. So he's just sitting there on the edge of the arena now, and he's sending his drones, his light maintenance, armor maintenance drones, over to the Armageddon. It looks like.
Okay, so we've got 1 minute left remaining, and as you guys can see, we do have 4 Titans spread around the arena, pretty much equidistant. So if nothing dies after the 5 minute round, then everything is going to die, thanks to some pretty Lance Doomsdays. But look at Micah, just living to win. His shield's going up a little bit. He is not one who wants to die ever. He just he knows what to do even against these ships.
Yeah,
30 seconds left. Oh, God.
He looks like he's going to survive, and Nash won't be able to deliver on his promise of explosions. It's very, very close now. 20 seconds left. The Tinker setup is absolutely fine. It's under no threat whatsoever. Zarvox just pulsing away his ASP there, and
the only threat it had was making just basically a user mistake or a pilot error or anything like that. But no pilot errors from these pretty much seasoned veterans of Battleship PvP.
And that's the end of the match. It is actually a draw. So I guess we'll go over to just see what happens here. I'm hoping we'll get to see some explosions. From these Titans.
I see some Doomsday starting to warm up. It looks like. Excellent. And Micah just exploded. Okay, so Micah's down. He got blapped from the sky. That wasn't even a Doomsday. That was just Titan guns. All right, some Lance Doomsdays are firing now. Let's see who gets.
This should be quite.
Oh, looks like it's gonna go for Hyde. Why are they punishing the men?
No.
Oh, let's see if they're gonna get. Okay, there's another one going for the ChrisWOW's Golem.
Oh, he's taking a huge amount of damage. There he goes.
Oh no, I think we're gonna get it too. I'm in the middle of it. Oh, Hyde goes down.
I've somehow managed to survive this so far. The Doomsday's just absolutely destroyed that Golem now, and the Varga, boom, there he
we
goes.
got them all.
We got explosions, guys. We had explosions. We had fun. Congratulations to, I guess, the teams for a draw.
I'd say that's Yet again, Celebrity Zero, but this time, Even T1. Guaranteed explosions as promised. We'll see you again next time.
Hey, what's up? We are back on the set. That was quite an interesting fight, and explosions were guaranteed and delivered upon. So yes, they actually exploded. We are here with CCP Pointybits from the art department at CCP. What is your job title?
I am a concept artist for EVE Online.
Concept artist. And how long have you been with CCP?
8 months now, I think.
8 months, yeah. And we are going to offer you a chance to pitch questions to CCP Pointybits on Twitch, and we'll try to pick up some of them and so he can tell you about art and
relatively
stuff.
friendly. I'm the one who's reading them.
So CCP Pointybits, you are in space. In which system are you in right now?
Currently, I am in Yule, I believe.
Yule or Yule?
Yeah, Yule.
Yule or something like that. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's some futuristic pronunciation we've yet to learn, I think.
Yeah.
But we are close to Amarr, and we're going to be just flying around and having fun. So
you're supposed to be in a particular ship. But
we changed our minds.
Because we were gonna have Pointybits in a Griffin, which is like the ship that actually got him the job here at CCP.
Yeah.
And instead we're in a Polaris frigate because like we want to make it to Amarr, where there's a roam happening that we're gonna be hosting on this channel. But tell us a little bit about that. Like this is an interesting story. How did you get your job at CCP?
So essentially, I started playing EVE sometime last year. I think around March, actually, just right after FanFest. I joined Pandemic Horde in like my first week. I basically started really getting into the game. Around the time I was trying to get a proper job in concept art, which is obviously what I wanted to do. And I just thought, I'm spending all my time playing spaceships. I should do some spaceship art.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, we have some questions for you. Firstly, what is your most pointy bit? That's the end of it. Okay.
It's probably my nose, I would say.
There you go. And I have some more here. Everybody's typing far too fast. Yes, it's very awesome to work here. Yes, when is the Osprey getting a facelift?
Oh, probably sometime next year.
Sometime next year. You heard it here first.
There is a bunch of facelifts on the roadmap, and we can talk about some of them. We're doing like some redesigns of some mining ships. No?
Yeah, so I believe it's the next few months. We'll be releasing new graphics for all 3 of the mining barges and all 3 of the new exhumers.
Okay.
That's just a graphical update, but those ships are very, very old. They needed an update. That'll include new effects, new modular systems for each of them as well.
Yeah, more moving parts and all the
warp
all the
animations.
pretty things. Yeah, all the modern frills of a modern spaceship.
Yeah, basically bringing them up to date with everything else.
Yeah, and like so kind of like, what are you working on right now? Like, what kind of things are you working on? I'm not sure how much specifics we can go into.
So right now I'm working on the next set of structures following up from Citadels.
Okay.
Which will be released at the end of fall, I believe, is what they're...
Later this year.
Yeah, something like that. Like it's still, you're working on things that are fairly far out, but...
Yeah. And basically those are just going to be industrial structures to follow up. They'll be bringing manufacturing, things like that.
It'll be manufacturing and research and invention.
Yeah, adding a lot of things for Citadel.
Exactly. I should have actually put that key art into the media pack, but it was part of the keynote that they...
Yeah, they actually showed it at FanFest, so if people want to see it, they can go check out some of the art presentations.
Yeah, so I painted the key art for that and designed the medium that we showed off.
Okay. So what's it been like coming from having played EVE and getting really into EVE and then being tossed into all of a sudden designing ships from the ground up professionally? How does that feel like? I mean,
it feels amazing. It's wonderful to work on something that like it came out when I think I was 13 years old or something. So I've tried trial accounts for the game over the years. It's something I've kind of grown up with.
Yeah, so you tried the game out like way before you subscribed and got into it for good.
Yeah, so I tried trial accounts over the years, did a bit of mining and stuff.
Yeah.
Really struggled to pick up the game, but always wanted to because I really love spaceships.
I've got another question for you. Do you think that Minmota are ever going to upgrade their duct tape style? And if they are, what do you think it should go towards? What kind of direction?
I would say more scaffolding, really.
More twine. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Upgrade a bit
Blu-tack,
from,
yes.
Sturdy
Get
rope,
with the times,
perhaps.
yeah.
Move on from the duct tape days.
Neural mix, that's just the way I am, yes. Anyway, I'm going to stop reading Twitch chat and let you do that instead because it's very hard to concentrate.
How much control do you have over like your designs? I mean, how much input do the old guys let you have on like what you do?
We're actually given a lot of leeway on designs. Obviously, we have an art director who decides and directs the designs, but we're actually given a lot of leeway over how we go.
Okay, that must be fun.
And when it comes to the ships, like the new frigate book that's coming out, the Frigates of Eve, where everything's fitted in and the actual equipment is inside, do you guys have to take all of that into account when you do the design of the ship?
I mean, it's something I like to take into account to some extent. Yeah, I generally think of placement for different things and uses for different objects on the spaceship. So usually things like this large structure is going to be where the electronic warfare is on the Griffin. These will be
where people sleep.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not so much that.
Well, they've got to be somewhere, otherwise.
I would totally fall asleep in one of those pods, I can tell you that. So, Off Topic is asking if the new Thrasher model is on the way. Is that something we know about?
It's in work, but I don't know when we'll be doing it.
Yeah, no set timeline yet. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that's So like...
I want to keep reading it too.
Yeah. So we are heading to Amarr. For those that just tuned in, there's going to be a big roam there happening, hopefully big, and we are going to be streaming that. That's something the Eve and T guys are running?
Yes, they're going to be starting that just now, actually. They're going to be leaving the station pretty soon.
Yeah.
And that is going to be FC'd by CSM member Jintan, and CSM member Nash Cadaver is also going to be joining them, along with everybody else. It's apparently a kitchen sink fleet. Just bring whatever you've got. Doesn't matter if you die, and everybody's welcome. The more people who die, the better, usually. Explosions, yay. That's kind of the point.
What software do you use to do your art? That's a question that came up.
Well, we use Photoshop as a baseline for all our 2D and painting. And depending on the artist, I use Modo for my 3D. And most of the others use Maya, 3D Coat, ZBrush, basically whatever the artist is comfortable with using.
I use MS Paint for everything. Yeah.
And it shows.
The first day that I got here, Photoshop wasn't installed, so I had to use Paint for a little while.
All right. So.
And one other question that came up is, where did your name come from?
I predicted as soon as people started seeing designs, they would comment on how pointy and angular everything would be. So I kind of preempted that feedback and thought it'd make a good name.
Yeah. It puts it all in context. So the new Bantam, the Bantam redesign, that was one of your favorite projects. When is that coming?
We're aiming for September-ish, fall, between winter.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Winterish.
Well, this is Iceland, so that's like a Tuesday to a Thursday.
It's a loose time
sometimes
between
more
now
than 1
and
week,
like next year.
If you say something is coming in winter in Iceland, it could be whenever. You never know. It's always winter.
Just that.
But yes, so we are almost out of time. We thank you for being on the show.
No problem.
It's great to have a former hardcore EVE player turned artist join us. And are you in Amarr already? Yes,
yeah, I'm in the station being chased.
And just to answer the quick question from Rock the Hitman about what the structures look like, please go and watch the keynote or any of the art panels that were at FanFest, and the industrial array initial blockout is actually there, covered in dust, because it's
all on our YouTube channel.
I believe it's on the Eve update site as well.
And it is on the Eve update site under the fall bucket. We'll have more details about what's coming in the winter later, and of course we keep updating the updates page, so keep a lookout for what's coming next. I know that we have a bunch of new cards scheduled very soon, so keep an eye out for that.
There is one thing left, and that is the screenshot contest we talked about.
Yes.
Lest we forget, so
yes,
we picked 3 favorite ones.
It wasn't us. It was our dear friend and guest.
It was our arty friend who picked them, of course.
And I have lost my little piece of card which had the names on. But if I remember correctly, in 3rd place is Carbon. Hopefully the voices in my head will tell me what his second name is.
Yes, it's...
But they won't tell me
Carbon?
what his second name is. So it was Carbon. The second place was Malcolm Gunn. And first... No. I've got that wrong. First place was Malcolm Gunn, and second place was somebody else whose name I've forgotten, and I'm really sorry, everyone. But I will sort that out and apologize profusely forever and ever. Yay! We've got a new fan.
We're gonna show you those. Yeah.
Eventually, yes.
We'll show you those screenshots, and then the winner, the first place winner, is gonna get a couple of plaques sent from us. After the show or tomorrow.
That's Malcolm Gunn's one that's showing on the screen, or was. There's also a special mention goes out to Rick Zarvox, and also to a... it begins with a B. He's a Russian player. I can't...
Nancy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Special mention. You guys and your names, can't you all just be Fred or Steve or Tom or something? It would be so much easier.
Yes, and there it is.
Special mention to you guys. The only reason that you weren't considered as part of the actual competition was the fact that it wasn't a screenshot. It was something that was made. So,
but beautiful stuff all the same. And so we are definitely out of time now. So we're gonna call this for now. And just remember that there's one ship out there that doesn't need redesign, and that is, of course, the Friendship. Fly safely or dangerously, and we'll see you all later.
Hey, 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 hey.